Angad had no idea what the next day held for her. Twilight descended slowly across Kolkata, wrapping the city beneath exhausted saffron light and damp evening haze. At precisely 5 o'clock, Angad wandered into an old neglected park hidden between crowded streets and rusted apartment buildings. The place smelled faintly of wet soil, cheap incense, stagnant water, and fallen leaves rotting beneath stone, darkened by years of rain. Angad drifted through the pathways slowly, his long hair damp against his neck, his beard thick and unkempt, his loose tattered clothes hanging around a body that no longer resembled the powerful man he once had been. His thoughts moved without order, fragmented images dissolving before they could fully become memory. Inspiration refused to arrive. While somewhere deep inside his exhausted nervous system, the craving had already begun, whispering once more. He sat heavily upon a broken stone bench beneath a dying lamppost, then slowly reached inside the tattered bag resting beside him. The movement carried no drama anymore, only habit worn smooth through repetition. He inhaled sharply. The burn exploded through his skull instantly, violent, chemical, merciless. Then gradually, the world opened unnaturally around him. His pupils widened, his breathing slowed, while the edges of reality stretched outward into strange emotional depth. And then suddenly, he saw it. An abandoned circular patch near the center of the park, surrounded by old stone benches carrying the ghosts of 1,000 forgotten conversations. Angad approached slowly, his gaze fixed upon the earth with unsettling intensity. Then, as his fingers began moving across the ground with colored chalk, he noticed her. A woman sat carelessly upon one of the benches nearby, her face illuminated by the cold glow of a mobile phone pressed endlessly against her ear. Beside her, a small child sat upon the pavement, barely 2 years old, restless, confused, reaching repeatedly towards the woman for attention that never arrived. Without even lowering the phone from her ear, the woman shoved the child aside impatiently. Something dark began taking shape beneath the chalk, something rising directly from the collision between intoxication and wounded instinct. A child emerged slowly upon the pavement, crying, terrified, its innocence ruptured beneath impossible grief. One wing stretched outward beautifully, while the other appeared, severed violently at the shoulder. Bleeding into the stone through streaks of red and shadow, people began gathering gradually around him. Drawn by the strange haunting realism emerging from the pavement, coins clattered nearby, notes fluttered against the ground, yet Angad barely noticed any of it. The toddler still crying quietly, while searching for warmth from someone emotionally absent even while sitting inches away. Then abruptly the woman rose from the bench, lifting the child with one indifferent arm while continuing her conversation without interruption. Angad watched silently as they crossed the street together, then disappeared through the massive iron gates of a palatial bungalow glowing beneath expensive lights. Night descended completely over Kolkata. His earnings weighed comfortably inside his pocket now, enough for powder, enough to silence thoughts once more. And so once again, he returned back to the Adda. The rush arrived swiftly, brutal and consuming, washing through his bloodstream with ruthless familiarity. By the time he collapsed upon the cold earth of the park hours later, his mind had already dissolved into fragments. Faces blurred together, voices melted into static, while the last 6 months of his life drifted endlessly through narcotic darkness like broken film reels soaked in rainwater. Then finally, oblivion embraced him completely. Dawn shattered his unconsciousness violently. Sirens screamed somewhere nearby. People shouted. Metal barricades scraped harshly across the road outside the bungalow. The mansion now swarmed with police vehicles, an ambulance, crowds of curious onlookers pressing desperately against barricades. A whisper drifted through the crowd. Murder. A woman had been slaughtered inside her own home during the night. Angad pushed forward slowly through the gathering crowd, his pulse beginning to hammer uncontrollably beneath his ribs. Then suddenly he saw the body. It was her, the woman from the park. Her ears had been brutally cut, while her mobile phone had been forced grotesquely into her mouth as though somebody wished to silence her forever. Police officers moved frantically around the bungalow, their confusion obvious even from a distance. Only mutilation remained now, only horror. Angad's fingers twitched violently, his pupils narrowing as reality tightened itself around him with suffocating force. Then, without warning, he turned away from the crowd and began stumbling rapidly down the street. There was only one place left now, the Adda, and this time he did not look back.
Where stories begin.